Hello, SpongeX here, and I am currently working on a Conker fan animation called Conker Goes Berri Picking. And so I'm just showing a little preview of like the progress of it so far. So like what I did to make this was I originally was gonna start off making this in Source Filmmaker, using 3D models with Conker and Barry. This Barry model is actually a custom model made by a guy named J.C. Thornton. He makes some pretty decent 3D models, mostly of animal characters from cartoons. Like he's done characters from Animaniacs, Tiny Toons, and he even did Barry from Conker's Bad Fur Day. And so I originally made like this little comic, and it has a little pun in it, but very cheesy but kind of funny at the same time. And so I just thought, oh, I should probably try animating this. And so I tried making it in Source Filmmaker, and it almost started off fine. The problem is that none of the Conquer models that were uploaded on it have very good facial expressions. But I did my best to animate it anyways, and in the end, I just realized this isn't gonna work. So, best thing I can do is rotoscope it, and that is the progress of tracing over like a subject to make it animated, and that's exactly what I'm doing here. And so, this is going to be a more fluid looking animation than anything I've ever done in the past because there's more camera movements and angles with the characters that happened while making this, and so I'm doing my best to try to draw it all on. So I did have to take a few shortcuts because there were a few frames that were just way too similar to the point where it would have taken forever to draw them all. But for the most part, I'm drawing most everything that happened on screen, and so as you can see right now, I'm drawing Barry. And she's the hardest character to draw in this. She's just got so many curves. It's really hard to draw them properly. But so I didn't add all the detail in, because this is just going to be a black and white animation as far as I know. I'm not sure if I'm ever going to go back and color it, but I originally did try drawing in like the outlines for like the yellow trim on her outfit or like the C on her chest, but I couldn't really do that. It's like it just looked so weird, and so that'd be better to leave off now. And then if I ever decide to make a colored version, I could then draw it in, um, you know, that way. That'd probably be easier. But for now, I'm just leaving it without an outline, and she's hard enough to draw as it is. So. Like, I'm over halfway done now. This is still going to take quite a while, but the hardest parts are out of the way. Um, because like early on in the short, we see Conker like merrily skipping along until he bumps into Barry, and so that was like the hardest part to animate, and so that part's out of the way now. So most of the rest of the short is going to be Conker and Barry kind of standing still and moving their mouths. That's about it. But so the hardest part is out of the way, luckily. Whoops! I realize I messed up there. I'm gonna have to go back and fix that. But I forgot to draw in more on Barry's leg, but her pants. I forgot to draw an outline for that, but I'll have to go back and fix that. So now I have to draw a Conker for this frame. So this model right here is straight from Conker Live and Reloaded, but it wasn't. It was kind of crudely ported into Source Filmmaker. I'm so impressed that someone actually managed to put a model from that game into this, but at the same time, there's a they forgot to add a lot of his facial expressions. They didn't bother giving him finger posing, and his tail is the weirdest part of this model. It is not properly rendered, and but despite that, though, this is still the more expressive out of the Conquer models. I mean, the only other models they had of Conquer on this were from an even more there was a more limited version of the one from Bad Fur Day on here, and It's like the one in Gary's mod would have been fine, but the problem is that they didn't have the Gary's mod one like ported over. It was just a more simplified version of the N64 model. Then the other one was the one from Project Spark, and I already used that for my previous fan animation where Conker accidentally tackles Barry, and that one, yeah, like there was no mouth movement or eye movement at all, so I just had to work with this Conker one from Live and Reloaded. But I decided, although I did use Live and Reloaded as the model, I decided to draw him in his original outfit from Bad Fur Day because a lot of fans seem to prefer that. Personally, I never really minded his design in Live and Reloaded, but fans have spoken. Most of them really like the original, so I just decided to, might as well just draw him the way he appeared in the N64 game. But okay, that's one frame done. Now let's go on to the next. So, for those who are wondering what program I'm using to rotoscope, I'm using a free to use program called Pencil 2D. I remember someone on the internet recommended it to me, and I looked into it hoping it wasn't like a scam or some kind of virus, and it seems to be a safe program. But um, so it allows you to import image sequences, which you can then trace over to make animations. And so I thought that would be kind of cool to make this because I've never really done like I've done a few little segments of rotoscope before, but they were very very short. So although this is still a short animation, it's got a lot more going on. Characters moving around, and that, and it actually has voice acting. It will have voice acting eventually. I might do the voice of Conker. I can do a somewhat decent impression of him, and my good friend Steph O'Keefe, she might be the voice of Barry again. She had fun voicing Barry in Barry's Badass Day, and I told her I was working on this, and she liked the original comic I made of this that I posted on DeviantArt, and so she said she would love to voice Barry again. So I've probably been working on this for over a week already, and I'm guessing it probably won't be done until um, this upcoming week as well. But it'll probably be like towards the end of the week though. But then I've been juggling so many things around, so I'm not putting all of my time into this. But like lately, I've been playing a lot of Animal Crossing, New Horizons, and then the new Final Fantasy VII remake just came out recently, and so I've been juggling back and forth between playing video games, watching stuff on Disney Plus, and going back to this when I'm feeling up for it. There are just certain times where I'm just feeling too tired though, and so animation's really hard. I mean, like the fact that just the few short seconds I've been making so far have only taken me like like over a week already just to complete, and I'm still not even halfway done. Well, I'm not. I'm just barely over halfway done with it, and I still got quite a bit to go. I mean, it is fun though once you get it finally. Like it at first, it's really slow, but then it's like once you actually start seeing the illusion of the characters moving, that's where animation feels so rewarding. Like I honestly feel more impressed over what I did with the hand drawn than making the rough version of this in Source Filmmaker, especially with how limited the characters were in Source Filmmaker. That's one thing I love about drawing on digital. When you mess up, you can press an undo button. And I remember back then, when I wanted to draw on paper, I messed up so much. I just do not have the steadiest of hands, unfortunately. And so it's like when I try to erase it, it would create like smudges. And that was so frustrating. So that's one thing I love about digital art. When you mess up, you can just go back and fix it quickly and easily. So it is really easy to make one little mistake that messes up a whole piece of art. Yeah, I simplified the shoe designs because it would have taken too long to keep drawing in all the little details. Tall characters with curves are really hard to draw, especially without making the outlines too wobbly. Okay, now I just need to get her arm done. Yeah, unfortunately, I couldn't make the video frames of the source filmmaker render. I wasn't able to make that slightly transparent. I was hoping it would have given me the option to do that. Unfortunately, it did not. So the best I can do is have it turn invisible, so that way I can compare to the frame before and after or current and all that. But I would have liked to have it be a little more transparent, so that way it would have made it easier to trace over. Um, Especially when you're drawing over for instance, like Barry's irises, or her her pupils, or her eyebrows and eyelashes. Those parts really blend in too well. So now here's a little preview of what the clip looks like when I play it back. I'm rewinding a bit, so so let's go back to the start. And yeah, I accidentally messed up while doing this. So luckily I have the first bit of this animation exported already, because I unfortunately lost it somehow. Um, so luckily I still have that clip of the original few frames, and so I'm gonna have to import that into a video editing software later. And so this is the preview so far. That's all I got. So stay tuned for more. I'll let you know when the full video is ready. Thank you for watching. See you next time. Goodbye.